Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to historical events with unexpected consequences. And yeah, we're going to just jump into this. I mean, I assume this is events that happened off the back of something that you wouldn't have really expected it to have happened or to have came from. But this channel I reacted to like 2 weeks ago, a week or 2 weeks ago or something like that. And the channel's kind of similar to Sam O'Nella. And I mean, you can't go wrong with Sam O'Nella, so it's always nice to see channels similar or the same sort of style, especially when he doesn't really post. But we're going to check this out anyway, and let's just jump into this.
Call it a trigger event, part of a larger domino effect, or an example of path dependence. One historical incident can appear to fan the flames of major or minor subsequent events. A deadly virus that sparks the creation of a famous beverage, perhaps, or a monkey bite that causes the death of thousands. Seemingly small occurrences can have large and often unexpected consequences. So today we will take a look at some minor historic events that triggered or at least supported larger historic events in the future. Not all of those events are massively important, but instead more fun or interesting. Number 1. A wrong turn led to the death of Austria's Archduke Franz Ferdinand and sparked World War I.
Of course, I mean this is probably the most well-known sort of situations like this, for sure.
The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria was a key event in the lead-up to World War I, one often considered to have started it all. In truth, tension among European powers was intense by the time Ferdinand and his wife Sophie visited Sarajevo, and their death was merely the last straw. That makes it even more weird that a minor mistake like making a wrong turn had such an impact on the future. Franz Ferdinand was heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne and visited the capital of Bosnia to oversee military drills. Slavic nationalists in the region, many of whom were in the Black Hand, wanted to establish an independent state and rid Bosnia of Austro-Hungarian occupation, and they were ready to kill for that goal. The group stationed members all along the Archduke's motorcade route. 3 conspirators failed to eliminate Franz Ferdinand during the morning hours of June 28th. One neglected to throw a bomb, another didn't pull out his pistol, and another bomb thrown at his car missed. Later that day, turn onto a road.
That's what I've skipped. I was going to say, he dodged all that, and then you just he took a wrong turn, and this is what caused it. Talk about flipping like chances of things like happening and stuff. You've avoided all of that, and then you've just managed to take again. I think it was taking a wrong turn, and this has led to the death of him, and then after World War One. But surely, even if this didn't happen, there would have still been another event which would have led to it anyway, or it would have still happened. I'm sure that wasn't the only thing that caused it. I know in school you're taught that is that, but surely there are other things that would have led to it happening anyway.
To detour from the Archduke's planned route went untranslated to the driver of his car. As a result, Franz Ferdinand and Sophie's vehicle took a wrong turn onto a road it never should have traversed. Since this was an unexpected detour, there were no guards on this street. However, who was on the road was Gavrilo Princip. He saw the Archduke, fired a pistol at the car, and hit both Franz Ferdinand and his wife, who both succumbed to their injuries.
Oh, I didn't remember his wife was killed.
Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia exactly 1 month later. Russia then mobilized to support Serbia, which resulted in Germany declaring war on Russia on August 1st. By the time Austria-Hungary declared war on Russia on August 6th, Germany had already declared war on France, one of Russia's allies, which prompted Britain to declare war on Germany.
I think what this done, I mean, again, you hear that and it is like, okay, that really did cause the war, and you are taught this and stuff, but I think this just sped up the process. If this didn't happen, it would have probably just there would have been a war maybe a month or 2 months later. It just sort of sped the process up to the point of, okay, well, let's just do it now instead because we've got a reason to start.
The extent to which Franz Ferdinand's demise caused the conflict or triggered a larger domino effect remains a topic of discussion among historians, but it's still amazing what consequences such a small mistake can have.
Yeah.
Number 2, a Roman's ass helped lay the foundation for the Jewish-Roman Wars.
What? What the fuck?
Between 48 and 52 CE.
Ventidius cum anus. That cannot be a real name.
Ventidius Cumanus served as...
Why have I said like that? Why have I said it like that? Cum anus. Oh, God.
The Roman procurator of Judea. The region was rife with tension and unrest, in large part driven by the Zealots, Jewish rebels who aggressively pushed against imperial authority in their efforts for religious liberty. According to the ancient historian Josephus, several riots broke out during Cumanus' tenure. One of the most notable came when a Roman soldier aimed his rear end at a crowd of Jewish celebrants during a Passover festival in Jerusalem. People describe the scene as follows. Roman cohorts stood over the cloisters of the temple, for they always were armed, and kept guard at the festivals to prevent any innovation which the multitude thus gathered together might make. One of the soldiers pulled back his garment, and cowering down after an indecent manner, turned his breech to the Jews, and began to taunt and insult them. The group then fell to fighting and caught up stones and threw them at the soldiers, prompting Cumanus to send in more troops. The ensuing stampede and riot resulted in as many as 10,000 Jewish deaths at the festival. The indecent exposure and subsequent violence were among many conflicts between Romans and Jews that precipitated the outbreak of the First Jewish-Roman War in 66 CE. The initial Great Revolt lasted until 73 CE, saw the destruction of the Second Temple in Jerusalem, and resulted in the loss of more than 1 million lives. Obviously, this incident wasn't the sole or direct trigger for the Jewish-Roman War, but just the fact that a Roman soldier exposing himself played a role in causing such a massive war is just ridiculous. Number 3. Gin and tonics were born from malaria.
I think my mum taught me this, because she was just having, I don't think she was having gin, she was just having tonic water. And there's something in tonic, there's something to do with malaria, and isn't there something in tonic water, or whatever you want to call it, that helps prevent malaria? What's it called? Oh, I can't remember what it's called, but there's an ingredient in it that helps combat malaria or something like that.
Nowadays, gin and tonics is a well-established drink around the world, but most people don't realize that this classic was created thanks to a disease. Malaria in colonial India was a major problem for British citizens and soldiers, and as a result, they relied on quinine to combat the disease.
That's the one.
Derived from the bark of the cinchona tree, quinine was popular with European settlers in South America during the 17th century as an anti-fever drug. In colonial India, it was again used for fevers, and due to its bitterness, was usually mixed with soda water and sugar. The bubbly beverage soon became a new drink, tonic water. The first patents for it appeared as early as 1858. Schweppes tonic water entered the market in 1870 as
Schweppes has been making tonic water for 150 years. What?
Indian quinine tonic, and was mixed with alcohol, namely gin. The addition of gin to quinine and tonic water had been taking place for decades by the time commercial concoctions came on the scene. In British India, a daily gin and tonic was essential to maintaining imperial control. Part medicinal and part social, imbibing these cocktails became part of life for British expatriates. When they returned to England or ventured to other parts of the world, gin and tonic drinkers took their affinity for the beverage with them. So the next time you have a glass of gin and tonic, you better make a toast to malaria. Number 4. Without prohibition, there'd likely be no...
What? Okay, that's a weird one. What's going to happen here then? So no alcohol and driving. I guess because less people were drinking. They would drive? I have no idea.
No NASCAR. We continue to talk about the history of alcohol, but we travel to the United States. The passage of the Volstead Act in October 1919 ushered in prohibition in the US. Once liquor was illegal, subversive beverages like moonshine, hooch, and white lightning were in high demand. Brewed in distilleries, moonshine and the like was transported from place to place by bootleggers. To avoid law enforcement, bootleggers used back roads and drove at high speeds in cars equipped to subtly carry illicit liquor. Especially common in the American South and Appalachia, bootleggers tweaked their cars to make them faster while simultaneously using heavy-duty suspension to protect their wares.
What?
The insides of the cars were altered to carry more booze along roads with twists, turns, and other hazards. The type of driving necessary to successfully transport illegal alcohol became a skill, one that people put on display at public stock car races.
Oh, this is incredible. This is my favourite one yet. So people just drove, not in a hectic way, or they just drove fast or with skill, and then this is going to slowly lead to that. That is crazy, man.
After Prohibition ended in 1933, the demand for moonshine decreased, but the bootleggers found ways to keep driving, albeit on racetracks. Authors from the time said that a large percentage of the early stock car mechanics, car owners, promoters, and track owners had deep ties to the illegal alcohol business. The popularity of stock car racing grew with men like Raymond Parks at the forefront of establishing racing teams. Franz and his colleagues created the official rules for NASCAR, and in February 1948, the first race took place at Daytona Beach. So while most people weren't fans of the Prohibition, every NASCAR fan should be thankful for this part of American history.
Oh, wow.
Number 5. A monkey bite altered the trajectory of the Greco-Turkish War.
I mean, monkey bites are quite synonymous with, like, zombie apocalypses. Like, a lot of zombie films will start with, like, a monkey bite, then the virus spreads, you know. So, the fact that they can spread viruses just from a bite is kind of worrisome, but just hopefully it doesn't happen again. I mean, yeah, I hope that's not the case, because I don't know what happened here, but either it was a cold or a virus that spread, but scary thought, to be honest.
Sometimes even animals can influence human history, and this example will demonstrate how even a small monkey can lead to mass destruction. Alexander I of Greece only ruled for 3 years, but between 1917 and 1920, with Alexander as king, Eleftherios Venizelos essentially ran the country. By 1918, Greece had expanded its borders, and when the Allies met at the Paris Peace Conference, Venizelos was there. He negotiated the treaties of Neuilly and Sèvres with Bulgaria and the Ottoman Empire, respectively, securing new lands in Thrace and Smyrna, as well as islands in the Aegean. Venizelos wanted to keep chipping away at the Ottoman Empire as it was being partitioned after World War I, and as a result, Greece and the new Turkish state went to war. By mid-1920, Greek forces were moving deep into Anatolia. In October 1920, Alexander was bitten by a groundskeeper's pet Barbary macaque while in his garden in Athens. The king intervened when the monkey attacked his dog. While his wounds initially seemed non-life-threatening, infection set in, followed by sepsis.
Sepsis? Oh, God.
Alexander passed October 25th, changing the dynamic in the region entirely. He had no heirs, and national elections removed Venizelos from office that November. In 1921, war with Turkey escalated and a coup removed Constantine I. The following year, the destruction of Smyrna by Turkish forces resulted in the deaths of thousands of Greeks. The resulting border changes of Greece's defeat displaced millions of ethnic Turks and Greeks alike. Regarding Alexander's demise, Winston Churchill later said, "It is perhaps no exaggeration to remark that 250,000 persons died of this monkey bite." Number 6. M&M might not exist if it wasn't for the Spanish Civil War. After a fallout with his father, Frank Mars, the founder of US-based Mars Company during the 1930s, Forrest Mars reportedly told my dad to stick the business up his ass and move to England. While overseas, Mars developed his own candies based on some British sweet treats. While visiting Spain in 1937, he was said to have seen off-duty British soldiers eating a particular candy he described as lentil-shaped candy-coated chocolates. They were likely Smarties, although they were called chocolate nibs or chocolate beans at the time. Because of their hard shell, the chocolate didn't melt in even the hottest climates. Mars took the idea back to the US, although he called his product M&M. By creating chocolate candy that didn't melt, he developed the ideal product to include in rations given to troops, one that was much less messy than the chocolate bars that were also part of field rations. And that brings us to the end of this little tale.
And that's how the beauty of M&Ms were made. Well, there we go. Just a little look into this stuff. Honestly, being a Prohibition moonshine smuggler driver would be great. Would be a great crazy taxi type game. I don't see 9/11 cause 50 Shades of Grey to be written on this list. What? Wait, what am I missing out here? God damn. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this reaction, and yeah, until next time. Peace.